Good. Uh, Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast. Um, Landing pages. There are these mysterious things that float out there on the web, and they aren't websites, but still, yet they're the secret weapons of conversion for those who know best how to use them. We're going to talk about them today so you can not only understand what landing pages are, but how they fit into your marketing ecosystem. What makes for a good landing page, what we should avoid, even lead magnets, and some other fun things for us to talk about. I'm Dan Gershenson of Caliber Brand Strategy of Content Marketing in Chicago. And as always, I'm joined by Ken Tucker and Paul Bartle of Changescape Web in St. Charles, Missouri. Jen Kelly of New Initiatives Marketing in Toronto, and Ian Cantle of Outsourced Marketing in Bradford, Ontario. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get into this topic. And, forgive me for being a little more basic at the beginning, but just so everybody knows what we're talking about when we refer to landing pages, Ken, we're going to start with you because I think you can break this down pretty well as far as, what is a landing page and what are some of the more, fundamental components that a good landing page should have?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start out with a couple of things I think your landing page should not have. And that is, it should not have a lot of navigation, if any navigation. The purpose of a landing page is to convert. You want people to take your call to action. So you don't want any distractions. You want minimal, if any, navigation, maybe just the ability to link back to the page that they came from, or maybe the main website that they came from, or for your brand or whatnot. So there are really two schools of thought, I think. One is you're going to see a long scrolling, information-rich homepage that lays out a lot of detail about the solution that's being offered. The other thing is you're going to find incredibly short, to the point, offer focused landing pages that they're there to drive people to get them to take an offer. So your offer obviously has to be compelling. You have to be sending the right traffic to that landing page. I think a simple, clean design is best. When it comes to the forms, a couple of things. One is the less information you ask for, the better, typically. Now, there may be scenarios where you want to use your landing page as a disqualifier, which I think we talked a little bit about last week. But in general, you want to keep the fields that you're asking for minimal. You also want to make sure that the form is designed for mobile, and realize that if you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be hitting your landing page, filling out that form on a mobile device, you need to ask for as little information as possible. And I think it's actually, if it fits your business and it fits the offer, ask for a mobile phone number instead of an email, because it's a lot easier to type in a phone number than it is to type in an email on a mobile device. So if you need both, certainly ask for both, but really give that some good hard thought. Focus on benefits, not features. But before you do that, you also have to describe the pain that somebody might be experiencing if you're going to get into the long scrolling style of a homepage. If it's a really strong, compelling offer, they're probably already going to and you've done a good job of targeting. They're probably going to pretty well self-identify that they have that pain. So you may not need to do a lot of that. So you literally could create a single, almost completely above the fold landing page, for certain really strong offer focuses. But the other thing is make sure your call to action is compelling. Don't just use a simple single word like join or start. Use a phrase like join our tribe now. Make it have some excitement behind it, or start your free trial. They're so much better than just start or join, something like that. And then obviously you need to weave in some visuals. The last thing I'm going to say about a landing page before I forget to mention it is it's really critical. And that's to when they fill out the form, take them to a custom thank you page. Thank them for completing the information. preview what they're going to get with the offer. I think the best way to do that is with a video on the thank you page, welcoming them, thanking them, and if you're going to build a more complex funnel, then that can tee up an upsell opportunity that maybe, if they they have an opportunity now to take advantage of this special offer to get an even better deal. And so pretty long answer, but those are the things that I look for on a landing page. The last thing I guess I do want to mention is make sure you put your call to action in multiple places throughout as people are scrolling. So especially if you have the long scrolling page, and then also you have to test it. You have to see what works best. And I think Paul talked about this last week, where putting the form at the top or putting the form at the bottom can have a big impact. So test it and see which works better for your offer.
Yeah, those are great points. Yeah, and I totally forgot about the thank you page and how much you can use that real estate for not only reinforcing the sale, but I'm glad you mentioned the upsell part, because that is kind of a really good opportunity to say, hey, don't forget to check out this too while you're at it.
Well, and it does another really important function where you can, if you've got remarketing code on your landing page, and you just display a thank you message on that landing page, you don't really know if somebody's truly converted, and you might want to change your strategy for remarketing ads based on whether or not they landed on the landing page but didn't complete the call to action, fill out that form. And that they filled out the form if they land on the thank you page. So now you can create a different ad focus for those people, separate from people who just went to the landing page, and that's huge. So you want to take advantage of that. And it's better to get the whole experience going. And at the end of the day, we're in a world where experience really makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. Ian, we've been talking a lot about landing pages in terms of marketing funnels, and I wanted to kind of also continue that with you about, why is a landing page important in the context of a marketing funnel in this whole ecosystem? So, how do you usually, think about landing pages in terms of funnels, either with yourself or with your clients?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the key purpose of a landing page is to convert. So it's to be relevant, and it's to convert those offers that we talked about last week. The thing that people have to remember is that, first of all, it's got to be relevant. It's got to be relevant to the offer that you're presenting them with. It's got to be relevant to the ad you presented them with, for a couple of reasons. First of all, as a person, if there's no, that's not even a word. A lack of continuity. I was making up a new word there, I think.
Discontinuity? Is that
Lack of continuity. If there's a lack of continuity between the ad and what they're expecting to see on the landing page and the offer, they're going to leave. And bounces are not good from a conversion standpoint, and they're not good from a quality score standpoint with Google, assuming that you're using Google as one of your feeders into the funnel. So relevance is really key. And so building out your page so that it relates to what people are searching for, it relates to the offer, it walks them through the decision in order to get them to convert. And then the other key part is it's your conversion engine. So where landing pages differ from a website is really talking about your overall products and services, about your business, why people should choose you. And some of the elements that would be on your website should be on your landing page as well, to draw them through, to make sure that they understand that you're an authority, that your business can deliver what it says it's going to deliver, that you're trustworthy. So having reviews, that kind of stuff. But it's really designed to move people to action. And then Ken mentioned, and this is really, really vital, is lead capturing. So the purpose of lead capturing is as soon as you can get somebody to fill in a form, and whether it's their email address, their mobile number, or whether it's just the pixel, at least you've now moved them into your world. So you have then an opportunity to follow up, nurture those relationships, keep talking to them without spending ads necessarily. And that's a real key, because the sooner you can get them off the, I equate ads as like, high glucose sugar in your diet, right? That gives you tons of energy. You go like crazy, and then as soon as it's gone, you're like, oh, I need another fix. But so you want to get them off of that into your own platforms as quickly as possible.
Hey, Ian, can you elaborate a little bit about pixeling here and what that strategy would be?
Sure. So pixeling, it's a good question, because we use internal marketing terms like that all the time, but maybe not everybody understands what that is. It's really a little piece of tracking code. And so basically any ad platform that you're going to advertise on has a pixel or some sort of tracking code. And what that does is it allows that platform to then watch what happens on your landing pages, your website, wherever you have that pixel or code, so that you can then first of all, see analytics of that in those ad platforms, but then you can also create custom audiences from that within those ad platforms, and even change the type of ads you then present to those people. So it's very, very powerful. I've seen, funnels that are built out entirely on pixels, so that as somebody moves through your landing page, they take a micro action. It then, you're on Facebook the next day and you're like, whoa, there's another different ad from this guy. And it's relevant because I already read his ebook, and now he's presenting me with the next level up. So pixeling, that code is really, really important.
I think it's important to just specify too that in this case, when you have a pixel strategy, you don't even need to get somebody to opt in from a form.
Good point.
You're not even asking them to provide any information. The pixel can do the work for you.
Could probably do a whole show on pixels, I think, based on what I'm already hearing. But what we definitely can talk about here as well is you guys have really spelled out some great things about what people should do when it comes to landing pages. But Jen, I think you've done so many of these landing pages by now. You've seen the good and you've also seen the bad. And so, what are some of the bigger landing page mistakes you've seen from just others that you visited out there in the world and gone like, I can't figure out why they're doing that? What are some of the big offenses that you see out there?
From the landing page trenches, eh?
Yeah. The horror stories of landing pages.
Absolutely. Let me walk you guys through an analogy, and for the small business listeners that might be, or viewers that might be wondering, landing page, I already have a website, what's going on here? I want to explain this in the way that in a situation that you already know. So many things we do in digital marketing sound like very, very complex. And while they might be on the back end, this same process you're already very familiar with. So imagine, let me tell you a story here. Imagine somebody walking by your store window, whether it's in a mall or, on Main Street. And in the window, you have, you have a lawnmower there. And the customer stops and goes, okay, yes, let me go in and either buy this is what I've been looking for, or find out some more information about it. Goes into the store, physically goes into the store, and is wandering around trying to find where your lawnmower section is. And none of the sales clerks are able to help them. And the person is desperately looking to either buy today or find out more information, and you just don't have the information there. There's nothing set up. Nobody knows where the lawnmowers are. It's not obvious. That's what happens when somebody clicks through to a landing page that isn't very obvious about what the offer is. It's not very clear. So one of the things that the mistakes that I find with a landing page is it is not clear that the ad that they clicked on has delivered them to the right place. So they obviously took that action because they're interested in learning more or actually getting what it is that you had on offer. make it easy for them. Have that set up right there in front of the front door. If we're going back to the retail example, have it right there. So that is number one, what I see. Oftentimes, we find that people want to throw in so much extra into the landing page. If we stick with the lawnmower example, they're going to need a trash bin for, some of the yard work. While they're at it in the backyard, they might want to paint their fence, and I'm guilty of that too. If someone comes in and wants to talk about websites, I want to talk to them about their 5-year strategy and how's your logo and your branding. So we're all guilty of it for sure, but keep to the main offer, the one offer, make sure that is the sole subject of that landing page. So the copy that you're writing, the images that you show, one thing. That I got two more things here. The other thing would be your page loads slow. So the potential customer is really interested in having some information, and the thing is taking so long to load. Excuse me. And then with that, Ken mentioned making sure everything was mobile friendly. So that landing page needs to show up on the mobile phone really well too.
One of the things I wanted to get your take on is sometimes we see these landing pages that seem to scroll forever, like the War and Peace of landing pages. And this for you, Jen, or for anybody is what's your take on those? Do you favor a little bit more of a, like you were saying, Jen, nice, tight kind of here's what it is? Or, some of these that are just the whole feels like a website and just one long scroll, and it's not that things aren't different, but it's just so much to go through. Good, bad, where do you fall on that spectrum?
I fall, it depends. And here's the thing. So those long scrolling emails, have their place. And it was from back in the day with direct mail, right? Those long, 6-7 page mail, direct mail pieces that you would get that you just wonder, who has time for that? But they've stuck around because they are effective. So it would depend on the product or the service that you're offering. Typically, those are very emotional driven and function as if someone is having a conversation with the reader. Talking about some pain points, telling a bit more story, bringing them down the funnel, if you will, into making a decision to go with the product or the service. So it's really a trust building thing, but it's got to be used in the right situation. And if you're going to do that, please splash out the money for a good copywriter, because it only works if you have an excellent copywriter that is really good with sort of long form direct mail copywriting.
Yeah. Well, I thought when you said splash out the money, it was going to be tell us the money up front or something, because that is actually one of the things that I can't stand. I'm like, how much does it cost already? I just keep scrolling. Like, I'll come back up, I promise, but just tell me how much this thing is already.
That's so funny. That's like, I'm ready to buy. Hold on, I haven't finished the presentation.
I'm ready. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, man. Yeah. Just tell me how much it costs.
Yeah.
But just thinking through some of the mistakes I've seen as well. One of the things I see is that, and it should be totally obvious, folks, but if you build anything, you should test it. I have seen landing pages and web pages where the forms don't work and they're wondering why they're not getting any leads. And it sounds really, really obvious, but you need to test it. And then you need to report and watch, see, run your campaign, see what happens, and then optimize it on an ongoing basis. Do some A/B testing, that kind of stuff, if you want to get fancy and better conversions.
Yeah. And Paul, that kind of leads into, speaking of conversions, great segue into the question for you as far as what do you, in your mind, what makes typically a really high converting landing page? I know every business is different, but what are those must haves that every landing page must have for a nice conversion rate?
Yeah, everyone's kind of touched on this a little bit, and I'm going to expand on it a little bit, but definitely you have to have your calls to action spaced out throughout the page. And a lot of times they'll have a button on there to click that takes you to a page with the form. And I think that's a bad idea because you're putting one more step in there. Put the form on the page. And if you have, going back to what we just talked about, these long scrolling pages, they're not necessarily bad, like Jen said, but put your calls to action and, like you said, the pricing or whatever, put the information, space it throughout there, because if people want more information, they'll scroll down and read through the information. If they don't, they'll take action or they won't. But the other thing, when we talk about landing pages and we're talking about conversions, sometimes we forget if you're at the top of the funnel and you're building awareness of your product, especially if you have a high-end product, a long sales cycle, even at the top of the funnel, you're going to have a landing page. And a lot of times that's where a lot of your remarketing comes in. So you might have navigation on there. You know, Ken had mentioned a lot of times you don't want navigation. And at the bottom of the funnel, that's probably true. But at the top of the funnel, they may just be looking for more information. So you might want to have that and like Ian said, you have to test these things, but definitely put your calls to action on there and keep them laser focused, like Jen said. Because if you're driving traffic for, I think Jen used the example of lawnmowers, and then you start talking about landscaping tools, you've just confused them. Okay, they're looking for lawnmowers, so that's what you should be laser focused on. And that's with a landing page. That's the purpose of it. It's not a website. It's a landing page, and it is specific to whatever you are driving them there for.
And driving them, Ken, is kind of where I wanted to ask you about some of the things that you have seen as it pertains to driving traffic to a landing page. You know, there's a lot of different things in the traffic store that we can go to, but some probably are working out there a little bit better than others. What's kind of working for you when it comes to sending more people than others to the landing page you want?
Yeah, I'll answer that here in just a second, but I love Jen's analogy, so I want to just kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah.
So the lawnmower in the front, you know, in the display window as you're walking along the street, that's your ad. When you walk into the store and you don't see anybody around and there's nobody to help and you can't find that's like when you send somebody to your homepage. If you make somebody have to work and they have to work too hard, they're just going to go somewhere else. So if you're going to spend money on advertising, and I usually would recommend spending money on advertising in some strategy to drive traffic to a landing page, you know, what I typically look at, you know, if it's intention focused, if you can really dial it in, Google Ads is still excellent. If you've got an email list of people who you know are interested in you and your business, have been customers, you know, an email list can drive traffic, and that's not a paid strategy. So that's probably one of the best paid or one of the best non-paid strategies is to leverage your email list. Display ads can be really powerful. Display ads come in many forms. Display ads can be banner ads that show up on websites where you're targeting people based on interests and demographics that kind of fit what you think your solution has to offer, so that and they're really, you know, probably very top of the funnel frequently, but they're awareness building ads, but they can get people, you know, into your funnels that way. You can have remarketing ads, which again are display ads, but these are going to be when people land on your landing page and then they leave, you know, then these are the ads that follow them around wherever they go. With the reminder of the same product. I mean, you know, Nordic Track and Bowflex get me all the time. And those things work because 4% of people convert when they first go to a page. So remarketing is really important, and it's usually a really cost-effective strategy. It could be from Google, it could be with display ads, it could be from Facebook. I mean, there are a lot of different things there. Facebook ads are, you know, can be really good because again, you've got some really great targeting criteria. So you have to think about who is your ideal customer for this offer, and where are they going to naturally be spending time online. And so you want to look at your ad strategy from that perspective. You know, you can use targeted direct mail campaigns to get people into your landing pages. That still works, you know, and it can work really well depending on what you have to offer. Let's see. I think the last thing I want to talk about is, you know, hyper local geofenced type ads where we've talked about this before, where you can actually target the customers of your competitors and run ads to them on their mobile devices and get them to to your landing page to take an offer, because you already know that if they're going to a competitor, they already have that high level interest. So, you know, if it's a car dealer or it's a Mexican restaurant, you already know if they're in a Mexican restaurant across town, they might be really interested in coming to your Mexican restaurant. They just may not even know about it. So give them a reason to come over. Right. So those would be the things that I would really look at. I mean, you know, Facebook is great because it's got a lot of great targeting. Google Ads, super strong where there's strong intention, where you feel like somebody is ready to make that purchase decision. And again, if getting back to Facebook, you know, if you're looking at lifestyle related things, Facebook is fantastic. Facebook works really, really well when it comes to lifestyle. You know, anything related to food or health or beauty, you know, personal care, personal growth, things like that. It's really a strong platform. So, and then, you know, Instagram is, you know, managed through the Facebook advertising platform. So Instagram is a really strong platform. The last thing I'll say is, you know, if you've got a really strong niche focused website like Zillow for realtors or Avo for attorneys or even Nextdoor, you know, for certain businesses where, you know, your customers are spending a lot of time online, those can be pretty good platforms. You just, you know, sometimes you have to test, and any advertising campaign you're going to do, I think you need to be prepared to give it at least 3 months. First month is gathering the data you need to make good decisions. The second month is really optimizing it. The third month is seeing how you can really have it run for you after you've had a chance to go in and do some optimization. And if you're not prepared to do that, save your money. Yeah. Look at a different strategy. SEO can work, but that's a really tough road to hoe these days. If you're fortunate enough to where you already have a really strong presence when people are doing organic searches for your business, you know, then that could be a really good thing. But, you know, even with the predominance of Google My Business for local searches, you know, I think the inclination is that people, and you know, this is something that, Paul, we ought to try. We typically, you know, I think send people to the homepage for the business, but, you know, if their primary business category is something that's going to help them show up on the you know, Google 3-pack, maybe you send them right to that page specifically and not send them to the homepage. It'd be interesting to test that and see if that makes a big difference in terms of conversions. Yeah,
well, especially for homepage, you know, that's usually sometimes where people end up, and to what all of you have really said is that can be the most popular, but it can also be the worst sometimes, because they get in there and they're like, wait a minute. I mean, we've seen this with pay-per-click. We've seen this in other ways where, you know, the destination where they go is like, wait a minute, to what Jen was saying, what you see is what you get with landing pages, it sounds like, where you should definitely say, okay, if you came here to this link for this, if this is getting your attention and you click on it, then it really should be 100% reflection of what you just clicked on. So many times what we typically see, though, instead is a destination of the homepage. Well, we got them here and they'll find it, you know, they know what to look for.
Or
that patience.
Or they may be looking for a whole lot of other things.
I
They
mean,
just so happen to be doing a search or clicking on an ad because they saw it, because it made them want to click on it. So yeah, that's not a good assumption. You know, the other thing too is advertising platforms reward you when you have that strong alignment from your ad copy to, you know, and the keywords or the demographics or interests that you've used to build that and present that ad. And then, you know, when they land on the landing page, when you've got that strong alignment throughout, you're going to get better advertising rates.
Yeah. There, you know, and as you were talking, I forgot there's a good landing page that we should mention, which is the reputation management landing page, that we all have done in one form or another for clients when it comes to either ourselves or maybe our clients, as far as, hey, we had a good experience. Let's send them to a landing page where they can give us a review and so on. That's a landing page too. And I think that gets neglected a lot of times. People just throw a link and hope that, you know, their folks are going to just click on that link and give them a good review somewhere, or maybe it's in their signature. When a landing page, I think, is just so, it speaks so much better of you. It looks more organized. And like you were saying, Ken, sometimes when it's a niche site like an Avo or Zillow or something like that, where you can give a review, that's just so much, it speaks so much better of your brand, I think, compared to some of the other low-key kinds of ways to do it. But Ian, you know, we could do a whole show on lead magnets, I think. You know, we could probably do a 5-part series on them. But I think lead magnets are really important to at least mention here, because that, no matter what, when you come to a landing page, it's got to be something good for why not only you came, but why you stay in and why you fill this thing out, give them your information. So what are some of the better uses of lead magnets in a landing page that you've seen?
Yeah, and before I jump into that, I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget about the most important ad platform, and it's not TikTok. No, and it's not the most important. It depends on your audience, but I just wanted to mention it in case there's people out there that are very focused on B2B, and that's LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be a very expensive platform to advertise on, but it also can be super direct to if you're trying to do B2B type stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Ian.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a good point.
And TikTok. You know,
and TikTok.
It works for some people.
Don't forget
that too, right?
Just a note about that. I actually knew a business. I did an audit for them, and their main channel of advertising that was working very, very well for them, they were in the travel industry, was Pinterest. Pinterest was their entire ad platform, and they were smoking it because there was no other competition on there, which was interesting.
Yeah, you know, Pinterest is really a hidden gem, and for a lot of businesses, it makes a whole lot of sense to investigate. So I'm glad you mentioned that too, Ian, because you don't want to forget about that. And it's never mentioned as a critical platform, but wow, you know, and it's also fantastic for SEO, for helping you build out an SEO strategy, and it's a great referring source of traffic. So
yeah.
In my defense, I have mentioned Pinterest on occasion, especially if it's if you're a visually focused business, like if you're an interior designer, Pinterest is awesome.
Yeah.
So it can be, depending on the business, it can be really powerful.
All right. So getting back to lead magnets.
Yeah.
Let's get magnetized here.
Yes.
I'm trying to think up a new word again, but I can't. So some
very magnetized.
I'm going to your Pinterest page, Ian, because I want to see what collections you have.
So on the lead magnet side, I'm sure we've all experienced these, but some really great lead magnets, things like checklists. People just devour checklists, ebooks, quizzes, even some free training, like a short video on a topic that people are interested, can be a lead magnet, where you might present a little snippet, and then if they give you some information, it's gated. You then give them some more information that's, again, free, but it's from an expert. Digital samples. So like as an example, I've seen this done with actual books where people will give you the first chapter for free. You can check it out. Most of us are so attention deficit disorder that we'll like read the first paragraph and go, yeah, and just buy it, right? It's, you know, I've seen this work really well if you have a physical book. In fact, Steve Clark mentioned this when he was on our podcast. But if you have an actual physical book, and I think Ken does this as well, you let people get the book for free. They pay for the shipping, which is, again, you're getting a lot of information from them and you're giving them huge value. And then just free bonus offers like this is, you know, this is usually in conjunction with something else. Where you're offering maybe an ebook, but if they do something else right away, they get some bonus offer from you, which is very enticing. Those are just the ones that come off the top of my head right now. Yeah, you guys probably have lots of ideas.
Yeah, webinars.
Webinars, yeah.
Webinars are still good. You know, not still good. I think this is going to be the year of the webinar, probably, based on what we've seen already. Jen, you know, one of the Ken mentioned SEO, and I want to hit on this a little bit more, just so we're, you know, people are clear out here about where SEO falls in the scope of landing pages or not at all. Mm-hmm. Do you think landing pages help or hurt search engine optimization, or better yet, too, how much do we need to worry about SEO when it comes to a landing page?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do need to worry about it. I mean, you think about it. You've done all that work with the keyword research and getting your content written on your website properly, aligned to the keywords that you want to rank for. You've mapped out a content calendar, and that's how you're doing your blogging and your content on your regular website. So to not take that thinking onto a landing page, even though it's just one page and it's just focused on one thing, and it just might be for a short time, which is the length of your campaign running, would be something that I would advise against. So that same work that you've done to develop your keyword strategy, take it over to your landing page for sure. And then in time, as you're running more and more campaigns for different products and whatnot, you can think of your landing page as it can be the portal into all the content that you have on that specific subject. So in short, it does matter. And don't be putting your best foot forward and dragging your other one behind. So make it happen.
I like that. Make it happen.
I think Paul and I might have to disagree with at least part of that. Sometimes
I knew it was going to happen. I didn't expect it. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times you already have a page on your website that's pretty solid and it's already well written, and that's where you've put your SEO effort. And your landing page, you know, we very frequently no index landing pages because we don't want those to compete against our, you know, the pages that we're trying to get to rank. So it has to be done in a strategy. Don't just do it willy-nilly. Paul I'm sure can elaborate a lot more on it. But you know, I mean, if you don't have any content on your website for what you're putting together in your landing page, by all means, optimize it. But if you've already got a lot of content on there and those are the pages you're trying to get to rank, you might want to think about no indexing your landing pages. And then also, you know, you certainly want to no index any A/B tested versions of your landing page, because an A/B test is going to be very minimal change. You might change the color of the button or the placement of a button, but you're going to change maybe, you know, one thing at a time and test it. And so it's a copy of the page. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing no indexing there.
Got it.
And I'm going to disagree with Ken. I just wanted to see what that felt like.
30 seconds for rebuttal.
No, actually, I agree with both of you. That's the Canadian in me right there.
Oh,
you're both right.
And in his spare time, he's a diplomat at the United Nations.
I'm joking, but it is true. You're both right? It's all about, you don't want to cannibalize your existing SEO, but you want to leverage that content for sure. Because if people are searching if you have a checklist in your landing page and you don't have it anywhere else on your website, and you can get free traffic to that landing page, why wouldn't you? That's the question I would ask. Yeah.
Good question. My final question, though, is for Paul. I wanted to ask you, Paul, about something that's been gnawing at me the last week. I was seeing some people lately who have been saying, well, it's so much better when I don't gate content anymore. I feel liberated. I'm just giving away the content. And if they want to, give me their email address or phone number, they will, they'll do it. But I'm just opening the floodgates. And it actually, before I say what my opinion is, I really want to get your take on it, because it kind of goes against some of the things we've been saying and knowing about gating content, not just on the landing page, but anywhere else. How much or how little do you like to gate content?
Yeah, that is a very good question. And if I can step back just real quick here about the last question, if you don't have content on your website that you have on a landing page, that's a problem. You should get that content on there. I always know index landing pages and the reason is I don't want them showing up in search engines, because if they show up in a search engine and people can get there from a Google search, for instance, I don't know that they necessarily came from an ad. Now, there is ways to track that, but it makes your life easier, in my opinion, from a tracking standpoint. Now, I'm not saying, that's a hard and fast rule, but that's just my 2 cents on that particular topic.
Look at us all disagreeing with each other. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But everybody's right. So, but to your question, as far as gated content, first of all, I want to talk about terminology a little bit, because it can get confusing. If you look in Google Analytics, a landing page is anything that people come to from an external source. So to the person, the average person, the average business owner that doesn't understand a lot of this stuff, and it's not their job to understand it, but when we throw these terms around, they can get confusing. So what a landing page is depends on the context in which it is being used. So like I said, in Google, a landing page, if someone does a Google search for something and they come to a blog post on your website, in analytics, that's a landing page. So in the context of driving traffic, it's a very specific thing. We're driving traffic to this particular page. That's a landing page. So the way I tend to think of it, you have three things. You have a landing page, and sometimes these things are used interchangeably. You have a squeeze page, and then you have gated content. A lot of times a squeeze page and gated content are used interchangeably. To me, a landing page is you're driving traffic to that page. A squeeze page is kind of what Ken was talking about back at the very beginning, where it's at the bottom of the funnel, you have no navigation on there, and it's conversion focused. You don't want them to leave that page, you want them to convert. Then you have gated content. So gated content, I think it's good for upgrades, premium content, but you better have a really good offer. Like me, I'm not going to give you my email address if it's not a good offer that really gets my attention. And if you're paying money to drive people to a landing page, why would you gate that content right off the bat? You're just going to drive them away. They're going to be like, yeah, screw you. And you just paid to drive traffic to a page where people just leave. So that probably irritated everybody, but
I'm irritated.
Irritation is we're disagreeing in a friendly way. Go for it.
I'd say agitated, not irritated.
Agitated. Yes.
So, Paul, what do you consider to be gated content?
Gated content is when, okay, let's say you go to a landing page and there's an offer there. Let's say, okay, so you have a checklist, and they can download that checklist for free. And then you have like an upgrade offer for an ebook. And that's where you say, okay, give us your email address, and then we'll send you to a page where you can download this this ebook. Gated content is where you require them to give you information like an email address, phone number, whatever, and then they can download the content. To me, that's gated content.
So, I mean, if they're actually getting something, part of the gated content that you capture gives you the ability to deliver the assets in some cases. So, or make it easy for them. So in the example, if somebody signs up for free teeth whitening, as an offer on, a dentist's landing page, you need to get their contact information. You need to get them scheduled. You need to have some way to make that happen. So in some cases, you have to ask for gated content.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about, you have to realize when you can ask for somebody based on the perceived value that they're going to see getting that, and if they don't see the perceived value of getting a checklist for giving you their email address or a real email address, maybe they'll give you an email address that they create specifically just to claim these offers, or a phone number or whatnot, then maybe what you're offering doesn't have the value that you think it does. So gated content is a good way to check and see, is your offer or lead magnet valuable to somebody?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And to me, if it's an offer, I don't necessarily consider that gated content because, like you said, in order for them to claim the offer, you have to have some way to follow up on that and to collect their information. So I guess it's treading a fine line, but when it's an offer, I don't necessarily consider that gated content. To me, gated content is give us your email address to download this ebook or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, it's an exchange of value, right? The only reason I'm asking for your email address is because I want to be able to communicate with you on different terms, but I need to give you something that you see a value, and I think that's been expressed well. But a value exchange is a really great way to consider that. Is you're not going to give away your email address for free. I understand that it's valuable, but my intellectual property, the things I'm going to give you are of value too. And I need to make sure those things are of value, or else, just as Ken said, nobody's going to give you their email address, if it's not of value. So
yeah,
I think those are really good points, guys.
Wow, we actually came back together after violently disagreeing with each other. Right? That's great. That's wonderful.
Kumbaya.
I'm glad we sorted that out, but also I'm glad we gave you, the person at home, some great value for what a landing page is. A reminder: every week we are coming to you live, so. Do ask us your questions as you pop in. We're here to take those questions too. Hey, Jonathan, nice to see you. We'll be right back here with another marketing topic here on the Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast. Thanks for joining us.